Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel. Hello.
Happy Friday.
Yes. I'm all right. Oh, look, everybody. It's good. It's good to be Friday. It's good to be Friday. Okay. The saga continues. It kind of hurt me realizing that it did because we have to talk about it. And it's very upsetting to me.
Yes, there was a lot of times this week that I wanted to rip my skin off because I just didn't like the moments that happened.
Like, what's
Um,
better? What's better?
mhm.
Having like one Nina who had us gouging our eyes out, or having plenty of Delulus, of having a Lulu, a Willow, a Drew? Like, it's too much.
It
It's
is
too
too
much.
much. Too much.
Oh gosh. Okay. So Lulu and Brooklyn continue to have it out. But what was surprising, okay, is because when we left off, it was sort of like how like Brooklyn is sharing now. Like that honestly irks me the most is that she's
Yes.
sharing these vulnerable details with someone
Hmm.
who like really does not care about her and will
No.
without a doubt take all of her vulnerability and like swirl it around and throw it right back at her. So we kind of leave off with her Lulu somewhat calming down or somewhat actually recognizing that Brooklyn's a human person.
Yes.
And then Monday comes around.
Okay. Before you continue, I just need to ask you this. Do you think she's the most narcissistic person character we have right now?
Right now,
Or do you
up with
I know
Drew,
there's a
but it's
close
a
second.
lot.
I know I know they're it's are they both runner up for first?
I
Is
think
that the right
so.
word?
I think so. Like, I think Lulu and Drew are like at the top,
Neck and
and
neck.
Willow
Okay.
is like, lead me, right? Like, she doesn't have that main character energy, right? She's all like,
No.
I'm a lump, fill my head with thoughts and direction. Tell me what to believe.
I just picture a car and it's the name of the car is narcissist. It's Drew's driving the car and then Willow is just hanging out the window like a puppy.
In the back seat, and then like Lulu's in the passenger. That's actually a pretty clear graphic of like what's going on right now. But no, it's literally, and this is why we call her Delulu. It's
Yes.
delusional. Okay.
Yeah, so annoying. It's so hard to
I'm
gather my
kidding.
thoughts
I
and
know.
words to express my frustration and anger. I was thinking about you and our conversation last week with it makes me hurt to see
Yeah.
Brooklyn so vulnerable
Yeah.
in front of a person who could care so little about another human being
Hmm.
outside of herself, much less Brooklyn. That hurt to watch.
Because she unsuccessfully tried to seduce her boyfriend a bajillion years ago. Like, so many crappy things have happened to Lulu since then.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I mean? Like Charlotte coming out of nowhere. Valentine found the eggs and was like, you know what? It was gonna happen anyway, so I'll do it. So many things happened in her life that have been
Yes.
pretty bad. Like,
Yes.
think about when she woke up. She found out like most of her family died. She's like, my dad died, my aunt died, my like nephew maybe or nephew died, and my
Yep.
brother's in prison. But the only thing she could focus on is like, remember that time when we were like early 20s, slightly before, and you unsuccessfully
Yeah. Yeah.
seduced my boyfriend and never dated him after. Like, nothing happened. Imagine all the things that have gone on
Yeah.
in her life, and this is what she holds on to. It's so sad. Like, so sad. But she's bringing that stuff that I don't want back from Nina.
Yes.
I think Nina did an incredible job when she was Nina Ing back in the day. And I think
Hmm.
it's insane. Like how they say, like, you have this like one good employee, and then when they leave, the job is so hard, you need to fill it by so many other people. That's what's
Yes.
happening. That's what's happening. Like, she did such
Oh
a
my
good
gosh, I
job.
love how you explain that. That's amazing.
Like, she was just so good because she has a lot of the accusation parts. Like, she's so delusional where she's accusing people of doing the thing she's like currently doing live in action. And Drew has
Oh,
that piece of entitlement where he's like, other people have done things bad in the past and now I'm doing them in the present, so it's the same. Okay.
it makes my head hurt, honestly.
So they split those two main things. And so Brooklyn like shared this story of like giving up her child. And
Yeah.
after all of that, after the fake compassion on her face, she's like, oh, the only reason you don't want to tell Dante is because you don't want him to like be mad at you. And I'm like, what?
I
I was like, I'm like, you're accusing her. You don't want Dante to know. And I'm like, that's the point though. All you want is for Dante to know so he'll be mad at her.
exactly, exactly.
Oh my gosh. And then I just felt bad because we also know that like while this conversation was happening, Charlotte was technically like located. And it sucked so bad because it's like if Charlotte was around, Lulu would have been way too distracted to even engage in this.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I feel
You're
like
right. You're right. She can
she's
multitask.
she's really stuck in a place, and it's just like I'm rushing it forward a bit, but just like a little snippet of what happened when she was with Charlotte, just in the way that she was interacting with her in that moment, it still wasn't about Charlotte. It was about Lulu's hero moment that she didn't get.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Lulu is so desperate to be seen as this dark loner badass. Okay. Like she actually said that she is equivalent to the combination of a Jason Anna duo
Yeah, yeah.
battling against the WSB, when in reality, she's not the dark loner badass with the leather jacket. There's one and only Sam. She's
Hmm.
mostly just loud and has a lot of pent up energy that she uses to insert herself into other people's business because she doesn't know how else to do it. It's kind of like when you have a kid with a lot of energy and you have to make them run around. Like,
Yeah.
that's more her vibe. And the fact that she's telling, like, again, Charlotte is pretty mature. She's like, Mom, I'm glad you weren't there. Like, there was some like spy agents trying to kill us. And like Jason is trained and Anna is trained and like they saved us. And she's like, I'm scrappier than you think. She's like, no, like I think we needed more than scrappy. Like I think we needed skill,
A
ability.
gun?
Yeah. So I just
Yeah.
thought that was really sad that she didn't go like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I'm so glad they were there. Like, I can't believe that happened. The fact that she wanted so bad to be Charlotte's hero, and we know why. Like, Charlotte came back, and I'm just thinking, she is so incapable of seeing the win because for her, the win would be Valentine never existed and Charlotte would love her more than Valentine. Not having a good relationship with Charlotte, but having Charlotte favor Lulu the way she favors Valentine.
Yes.
And because that's not the reality, so that's not the reality. But even though it's pretty close, right? Valentine's not in the picture, air quotes, because we saw him in Port Charles. I'm like, I wonder if that walk across the set was laborious enough. So, like with her, it's like even though Charlotte is there right in front of her face and Valentine isn't, she also knows that Charlotte didn't choose this, right? That
Uh-huh.
Charlotte was forced. All Charlotte has now is like her love for her dad, right? Like he's not here, but Lulu can't even fathom just letting her, you know what I mean? Like hero worship her dad a little bit. But the point is, even Charlotte's
Yes.
not an idiot. Like she's asking
I
Anna,
know.
like, so my dad can handle those guys. Like it's not like she's like, my dad is like traveling the world saving people. She's pretty aware her dad was a fugitive. She knows what her dad does, and that's the point. She loves him anyway. Like she sees the reality of the situation and still chose what she chose. And even though the situation was dangerous and he got himself into trouble, for her, she's focusing on he protected me. Like
Yes.
so the thing is like Charlotte is trying to praise her dad. You need to thank him, not God. It was
I
him that
loved
brought me back to
that.
you. And I'm happy for the first time they highlighted the the good side to Valentine, the one we've seen while Lulu was in a coma, the one no one will attest to, not Laura, not Dante, not anyone will attest to the close relationship Valentine had with Laura. The fact that Valentine was trusted by how many parents to take the kids trick-or-treating, the teenagers?
Right.
You know what I mean? No one's talking about how well he integrated and made a life for Charlotte. And so Charlotte had to say, he took care of me and he talked about you as much as like possible so that I could like stay connected with you. She seems surprised by that. So for me, I'm like, so why can't you just let the girl be? Why does Charlotte have to like try to convince you that her dad's a good guy? Why can't you just be like,
Yeah.
I'm so glad he did that? Like, just let that go. But she pushes back, like, oh, your dad saved you, but you wouldn't be in trouble if it weren't for him. It's like you can't even prioritize Charlotte enough to just be like, you know what? I'm the adult. She's safe. She loves her dad. She's going to say this about him. All good. I'm just glad that she's here with me. Like she has zero perspective, even when she's getting what she wants.
Yes, Charlotte was definitely the adult in that conversation by far.
But the thing is, let's remember something here. How long do you think before Charlotte goes, Mom, I want to go to boarding school that Lulu can't
Oh,
afford to send her to?
100%.
So that's the thing. What's going to happen? Because like Charlotte's like, used to her horses. She
Hmm.
she's used to a particular lifestyle and Lulu can't even remember to go to work during work hours.
Cannot. I cannot.
So I'm so excited for this because this is what I'm thinking. You know, either like Charlotte's just going to get thrown into the thick of things and we're not just going to watch the young kids she connects with, but we're also going to get to see her connect with her broader family. You know, like Carly
Yes.
showed up to give Lucky a gift basket. Like she has a Spencer side, right? So
Yeah.
I'm curious how far will they expand Charlotte's connection to all of her extended family within Port Charles? And then the other side to it was like, the girl's gonna come back. You know, everyone knows about her dad. Is she really gonna integrate really well at school? Because that's, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's where I see Charlotte having a struggle and being like, I just want to go to boarding school. And I mean, obviously, Lulu's never going to want to like part ways with her, but I'm just so curious how this is going to go. You know, you've got Charlotte at her grandma's with her mom. And I just have to admit, like, of course, I believe Charlotte's happy to see Lulu. It's her mother, but her
Yes.
face when she saw Laura.
I know.
But I think it was brilliantly done, though. You know what I mean? Because the reality is, Laura took care of Charlotte and was present, you know, during her grief of Lulu.
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, like that whole thing, I am just that like I mean, look, at the same time too, Charlotte's return definitely will expand Lulu's world right now. You know, because she's often roaming around. So this will be interesting. Now what will she do, right? This whole because she could blame missing Charlotte and not having her daughter for all of her erratic behavior. But now Charlotte's home.
Yes.
So
Mm.
there's definitely more I want to say there. Actually, it turns out Charlotte's not the only excuse for Lulu's erratic behavior. It turns out being in love with your ex-husband who's mourning his fiance is apparently an excuse enough to act like a horrible person.
The conversation between Dante and Maxie and their softness for her,
Yeah,
I am still struggling to wrap my head around
thank you.
how this made things easier for Dante to understand. I'm sorry, aren't all of them in their late 30s to early 40s?
Yeah.
4 years in the grand scheme of things is not a whole lot when I mean, it is and it isn't when it comes to being an adult and catching up real quick and figuring out what to do with your feelings and where to throw them.
But she didn't know that beforehand. You know what I mean? Like again, Lulu has never gotten past her family's legacy. You know what I mean? She's not,
Hmm.
you know, she struggled to find something interesting about herself, right? It was like, I don't know what to do with my life. I'm gonna like when Maxie, let's say, started at Crimson, Lulu was like, me too. Even though I don't like fashion, I'm gonna do this too. Like there was never an individuality when it came to her. And then eventually she had the Haunted Star. And again, that was more of like carrying on a legacy. But what really is Lulu? And then all of a sudden it was like, I'm a journalist. I'm a reckless
Yes.
journalist. You know what I mean?
With a backpack, guys.
Oh, that freaking backpack. So yeah, like I mean, a lot of Lulu has been trying to live up to being a Spencer, I find.
That is accurate.
And trying to not live up to but surpass Charlotte's view of her father in her mind. Like I mean, look, Lulu hasn't had it easy, but it's not like I've seen a Lulu evolve into more of herself, like at all. Like when everyone's like, "Come on, Lulu, you know what you're like," and I'm like, "Does she? Do I?" I mean, again, she was in a coma for 4 years, so when was she gonna have the chance to grow? But still,
That's the part though. It's like the but still. Like that's where I
yeah.
struggle because she was always kind of lost. These 4 years that people are blaming things on, I don't feel is factual.
No, it's not. Uh, no.
No, so and it's just hard to see bad behavior shoved under the rug. Like Dante saying, I
Yeah.
shouldn't have defended Brooklyn. I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, what in the world is happening? Like, what are we laying the groundwork for? Because I cannot handle his softness. And not to say that he has to be mean to her, but co-parent, figure out
No.
co-parenting and leave it at that, friend, and move on.
Exactly. I don't think it needs to be black and white where he's either taking Brooklyn's side or Lulu's side. But when it was like, oh, you're right, I shouldn't get involved. Because Maxie's like, of course she's mad. You're taking Brooklyn's side. And he's like, I guess I didn't have to. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm not okay with having somebody in my life that I care about watching them behave badly and being like, "Oh, I wouldn't want to make you feel bad by calling you out." I wouldn't want to defend the person rightfully so because you love me. Like I just don't see how anybody would want to condone that, and it's ugly. It's very ugly and it's hard to watch. And I feel like, yeah, there comes a point where how much grace do you give someone? You don't even have to really defend Brooklyn, I guess, because you think it's like a trigger for Lulu, but at the same time there's no need to condone it either. And I'm just surprised because like I thought Maxie valued Brooklyn. I mean, she immediately didn't think,
Yes.
Lulu working there. And again, even with Maxie, you don't have to choose Brooklyn and Lulu, and she wasn't. So far, in terms of how it was going, I kind of liked it. Maxie was sort of just being like, you're both my friends. I care about you both. Like, figure it out, kind of a thing. And she even called Lulu on when they had all three of the girls talking, and
Hmm.
she decided to play innocent, being like, well, it's not really me. And she was trying to deny some of her behavior. And then Maxie pointed out, well, yeah, you do that.
Yeah.
And so I was just kind of surprised. Maxie is bit of this like truth teller. She'll call you on your stuff. She did it to Nina and she does it out of love. Also, it's funny when she does it, and I'm sure the shots just keep coming pretty easily to Maxie. But with the people she loves, she never condones it. Like when she found out what Nina did, she ran straight to Carly.
Yes.
But she never, that's what I respect though. I never liked what Nina did, but I really respected the fact that like this was Maxie's family and she loved her, but she never turned a blind eye. And I know that everything is fresh with with Lulu coming back,
Yes.
but I guess I was just really surprised, like there's Maxie crying and devastated that Sam died, having her kids collect Sam's favorite candy at Halloween.
Right?
And now you're like, okay, um, go back with Dante, Sam's fiance.
Yeah, I'm not impressed.
It was just really, really weird to me. And that's exactly it. That's why I was like, between this scene and going back to the Lulu Brooklyn stuff, they were really providing Lulu with quite a few wins. There you have her old crew. Dante's softening
Yes.
toward her. Maxie is like being very supportive and being like, yeah, that's Lulu. I'm like, all right. And so with the whole Brooklyn thing, like we were pointing out, she tends to like accuse people of doing what she's doing. And this is the most laughable moment of all for me.
Hmm.
Lulu is trying to force Brooklyn's hand to do what she thinks is right. But
Yes.
then she was so offended
So
when
mad.
Brooklyn told her, I think this is what you would do. She's like, how dare you
I could not.
have
At that point, I threw
thoughts?
the remote.
I'm like, how dare you actually think you know what I would do? I'm like, so you're offended at the thought that she thought about a choice you would have made, but it's okay for you to step in and make choices for her. I could not believe she said something to her like, you deserve not to be a mother.
I don't know how Brooklyn didn't punch her. Like, I really don't.
I don't know how Lulu stopped that.
I know. Oh, I have no
I
words. Continue.
I have an idea. It just popped into my head. Like how in that moment I think like you're wanting that slap and we didn't get it.
Yes.
Do you think no, I think it's two words. Do you think the two words for all of what we witnessed was simply delayed gratification?
Okay.
Like we want that slap, we didn't get it,
Yeah,
but we're
yeah.
gonna get something better after if we hold on.
I friggin' hope so, honestly.
Hold on for one more day. That's what we're gonna do. Um, and then some other craziness. So it's like this is what kills me. Twice, I believe, or three times, Lulu makes like empathetic face. She makes human face.
Yes.
So like at one point she was like empathetic. I think like the week before, and then Monday she when Brooklyn slapped her, her face changed like. Oh, this is serious. I'm compassionate. It was really weird. Like she
It
tried to
was so
slap you,
weird.
and then you like softened toward her. You're like, too far, huh? Too far. Too soon. Too soon. Like I couldn't
Fudge,
believe it.
man.
And then I was really happy when Brooklyn kind of like went at her about Geo and her absence. And she was no, that's not her son. Her son's Rocco. Lulu's son's
Right?
Rocco. Yeah. When she started like calling her out on Rocco and Rocco's pain.
And oh, the Lulu was so offended. She was like, "How dare you speak of my child?" I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I felt like I was losing my marbles while watching that scene.
I know because it's like the whole time, like, she's I'm not judging. And I'm like, no, you are. Like, you literally go and you like
You
judge her, like,
literally
judge,
are.
judge, 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 judge. And then all of a sudden, it's like Brooklyn says one thing to her. She's like, I can't tolerate it when people turn it back on me. But I loved how she pointed out, like, how is Rocco going to feel to have two parents running around chasing for kids when they've got one right at home?
Yes.
It was spectacular. I kind of love that she actually got that in.
Same.
But I think what was really I don't know, like full blown insanity to me
Hmm.
was after all of this, Lulu turns around acting all gracious and goes,
Hmm.
after ripping open all those wounds,
Every one of them.
threatening her all kinds, goes, you know what? This is your choice, Brooklyn. The fact that like Brooklyn had to explain her choice as a mother is beyond, considering that has
Yes.
been Lulu's line since she returned.
Yes. Like I think what was hard for me with all the scenes with Lulu, it just brings me back to marriage one. You just feel
What?
you just
Oh,
go in, it
I'm
just
like, you
goes
mean
in
her and Dante?
circles. No. My marriage
I
one.
know,
You
I
go in
know.
circles, you think you're making headway, all of a sudden it's your problem, then it's not your problem, and then the person leaves and you're like, I don't know what just happened. Was there any
Yes,
conclusion to this? Can I
there
move
is.
on? Like
There
just
is a conclusion. They're right, you're wrong, and I'm gonna
yeah,
create this tornado around it, and whatever I
yeah,
think is okay and whatever you think you're doing is not. And
yeah.
so I don't know. And then she left Brooklyn on some words of wisdom. She literally turned around and said, Brooklyn, I never would have found out anything had your mom not gone to Martin. I was like,
I cannot.
girl,
I cannot.
I mean, if you didn't get slapped before, you should get slapped now. I was like, really? Really? That's your piece of advice? You never would have found out had Lois not sought legal advice. But it's not all due to your beanie. Like,
Exactly.
no,
Thank
your
you.
your beanie had nothing to do with it. Okay, sure.
I hope we're in press charges.
I hope somebody presses charges. I really, really freaking do. Then she brought up Rocco. I'm like, yeah, like Rocco wants another sibling.
Right?
Like for his parents to like fawn all over and obsess over. And so like at this point, it's like, oh, well, Rocco deserves to know he has a brother. Nah, I think he'll be fine. Like everybody's pretty fine with what they don't know. And that's the point. You went in, I don't know what you expected to find, like Lucky Charms, but you were going to find confidential information. And that was the point. You broke in, you found confidential information, and you have to keep your mouth shut. And honestly, it was just hard seeing like Lulu like rush off. Like, was she going to run and go tell Maxie everything?
Yeah, I guess so.
I did not like seeing them in that house.
Ew, me neither. It was so gross. There's so many times I was
Yeah.
mad this week.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, I was scared about this. They have made this a Brooklyn versus Lulu. Lulu has made it a Brooklyn versus Lulu
Yes.
thing. So I don't want that to be lost, right? I still want there to be some sort of win or lose. Like Lulu has gone on the attack, and I would like
Yes.
her to kind of deal with the fallout after. This is a really big deal. This is what scares me, that it's all going to be washed under the rug. She had this private conversation. Brooklyn's not telling anybody how she found out.
Yes.
And then Dante won't stop talking about how hard it is to not know you have a child. Okay.
I know.
It's just random. Uh,
It's so weird.
and then she's like, I have to tell you something. And I'm like, I think he'll be, I don't know. I don't think he'll like you very much. I think he'll debate your motives for telling, especially when he finds out how, because then you're just going to prove you're just as reckless as ever.
Exactly. And
But
he
I
doesn't
guess
need that in his life.
no. And I guess we'll find out how all of that goes. But speaking of houses, Did you notice a house from the past showed up?
Oh, when they were in Buenos Aires? Buenos
I
Aires?
was
Buenos Aires?
I died. Like when they were in this house, it's just because like you know how Anna is so obsessed with Carly. I was just like, so Anna went all around the world and you still landed in Carly's house because that's the whole point. She sees Jason as belonging to Carly and wants to take Jason away from her specifically.
It made me laugh because I saw your post and I was like, it just like bang on, you know, like we said, we want to talk to each other or text each other, but you just like put our thoughts together out there.
Yeah. And so, like, when I looked at that, it's funny when you contrast the pictures. That's the point. Like, it was always the stairs were always far back. The furniture was always more up front, and like the door that they came in by, I'm like, but it's not a door there. It was like the entryway, like it was the
Yes.
door to like the foyer. So it was really fun to like be like, I think that's Carly's place. I thought it was. It was super funny. I love it when they do stuff like that.
Amazing.
What I did not care for too much was this full circle moment that happened in the airplane.
Okay, tell me.
It was because of them that Valentine went on the run and that Charlotte was taken. And then they were like,
Uh-huh.
and now we're bringing her back. And I'm like, yeah, what a full circle moment, guys. Now you don't have to talk to each other anymore. Group project complete. I was like, not not having it. And the funniest line. I'm like, is this a gift for me? Thank you. When Valentine and Anna were talking, did you hear what he said to her?
I heard it, but remind me, please. Is there something specific?
About like the care for one another. You know what I mean? Like about them. She's there with her crush Jason, seeing her
Yeah,
ex. She
yeah.
must think she's like, she's the shit. Like right there. She's like, look at me and surrounded by all my guys. Like she just feels like this. That's what it felt like. But this is what he said to her. You were the best months of my life. The best. That to me, I'm like, so that's what Anna is. She's the best few months of your life. Like that's how he sees it. You're like, you know, it.
They were
she
on the
risked
run together.
she risked her career. Like they went on the
Yeah.
run. She like risked her career. Like first of all, she tried to do her job, but the job led to him. So even though
Yeah.
she finally had evidence for a crime, she was like, let's let him get away. Let's tell him. Let's tell the criminal I found the stuff. And so she gave him a heads up. And I mean, like, it like appeared like this big love.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, like I mean, it was definitely a cool few months. Thanks so
And
much.
the funny thing is, he was in love with her from afar for
I
so
know.
long.
I
And then he finally
know.
got the real life for Charles Anna. And he was
And
like,
he was like,
what?
no, you work better in a fantasy. And they do. They work better in this fantasy where Charlotte doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Even
sadly.
before she was shot.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But like it looks like he's coming back. That's the thing, because when they rescued Charlotte, you're like, oh, okay. Like you kind of wondered, is Valentine gonna come back? Is it just gonna be one, or is it gonna be none? Right. So then when Charlotte was coming home, I'm like, okay, 1 out of 2 ain't bad. And then like he's back. So like, do you think he's back?
I really want him to be back. I was thinking, like, how is that going to work with him and Brennan? Did he poison the champagne? Is he just keeping an eye on them? Like, I'm curious to see what this new kind of, he's unhinged, but he's not. And I like this version of him right now.
Okay, so just to get this straight, Valentine, while being a fugitive, suspected that Brennan had something to do with the shooting, so then he showed up to his massage and tried to strangle him. And now you believe that he, after he like let Charlotte go, that he came all the way to Port Charles to just survey his hotel room.
Yeah,
You're
totally.
like,
And maybe
who's
poisonous champagne.
this? Yeah, no, I think he's gonna try to kill him, and he loves to catch him like not clothed. I think is his vibe when going for Brennan. It's
He
like you know
wants
you have.
to ultimately embarrass him.
It's just funny because it's like if you have like a spy file, you're like Jack Brennan weakness nudity, like just like
Are we going to talk about the nudity? Because I am very angry about
no,
all of everything. Can I
no,
just say
no,
how angry
no,
I am?
no. Sure, yeah, all
How
parts.
utterly upset I am. I was
Tell me why.
so
Tell me in detail what makes you angry.
I'm rarely the angry one, okay? Like I try to like find all the things, but like I don't am I allowed to say like pissed off?
Go for it.
Okay, I am like pissed off because remember how I talked about I don't like this version of Carly
Mm-hmm.
that's like
Yes.
accepting of all the
Yes.
BS, like some sort of high school girl. I'm sorry, lady. Didn't we go through like 2 episodes of you like becoming a Spencer and being yourself and this independent woman who like was built to no longer need Jason and is self-sufficient, and you are bending to this man toddler who is immature, cannot tell you what he wants, and still try to guilt you when you come to his room? A hard no.
Because
Pass. Move on. Leave it alone. And he's
he's
messing with your daughter? No.
and he's like upset that like you're questioning my character. He's like, I've been nothing but consistent except for that last bit where I decided to want a commitment after telling him that's not my vibe. But beyond that, I've been consistent every time I change the things that I say to you. I'm just like, what?
And how do I know that you won't change your mind now because I'm the flip flopper? You can't be the flip flopper. There can't be two of us. And it's like, I can't handle this, man.
I'm like, when I saw that, I'm like, all right, rewind. I'm like, to be clear, you guys were hanging out. It was getting more serious. Carly's like, I'm a labels kind of girl. You're like, I'm not that kind of guy. And then that was that. And he said, call me when you're ready to hang under a kitchen sink. So basically saying, call me when you're ready for not commitment.
For
And
hookups
then, yeah.
only.
And then after that, she's like, no, like I can't do this. Like I want something and you don't. He's like, well, how do you know I don't want it? So he didn't even come right out and say it. He was like, how do you know I don't want commitment? I do. And then she's like, you don't. Oh my gosh, how do you insult me saying I don't want something I said I didn't want yesterday? And he like got up.
Yes.
It was really and he stormed out. So like, no, I am definitely not down. I'm like, who is this Carly? Wake up. Like you sunnied, you Alcazar, you
Exactly.
Francoed,
Thank you.
and you're
Thank
gonna
you.
do this? Nah. And also what got me, logistics corner. Okay. They're in a living room. We know that the Metro Court
I
rooms are
know.
all different. So first of all, I could not even get into their love scene because I was like, no, 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 no. You went through an opening in the door. So you were in the hotel room with the living room set up as the main room. Then you decided to take her to your bedroom. So you went through an opening in the door. Then you ended up in the bed. And then when they pan out, there's another opening in the same spot. You're in a different room. You're in a different room. How do you expect me to focus on this love scene when there's two rooms with two openings on her left? I was out. I was out. And for that reason, I'm out. And I'm not
I'm
supporting
out.
this
You tapped
relationship.
out.
Tapped out for all the reasons you said and for all the reasons I said. What is happening? Like, I just want to say this. There are different kinds of
Mad.
romances. You got the slow burn, the passionate ones, the friendship turned
Yeah.
love. But this is not
This.
like this
Ugh.
is not it. You expect me to buy that whatever situationship is happening is something you're actually going to think about on your deathbed as a form of regret?
Ew.
This,
Ew.
this of
Ew.
all the
Ew.
encounters in your life, you're like, yeah, if I died today, I'd be thinking about this. And I'm like, I don't think so. Like, not even a little bit.
The only other thing I could think of, and honestly, it just popped into my head right now
Okay,
because of
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to interrupt you because this is like urgent news, urgent logistics news. So not only did they go from one opening to another room with another opening, then they ended up in Sunny's bathroom. That's
oh my
Sunny's
gosh,
bathroom.
it's the best bathroom on set.
Oh my god, the Matrix, the Matrix. Okay, now go. I like that was a lot. That was a lot for me.
Okay, so you know how we joke about like, Jason hasn't really hooked up with anybody, and we think that the horniness is fogging his brain when it comes to Anna. So the only logical thing I can think of is the horniness is also fogging up Carly's brain because the last person she slept with was Drew, and you got to shake off that fun.
That's what I was telling myself that I forgot about the whole Drew era in that moment. But like Carly has not forgotten about her Drew era. She straight up went to go talk to Willow. Drew comes in and in front of Willow was like, "You held me
I
when they moved to Virginia."
know.
And I'm like, Willow, like, what's wrong with
Come
you? Like,
on.
like last time she was at your, she yelled because he left the tie he bought her in your husband's sofa.
Yeah.
And this time, openly, she's like, "Remember when you held me? We're in a relationship."
Together.
This is so funny how she just brings that up and she doesn't care. It's hilarious. But back to like the love life of the Carly, of the Jason. What is happening? Because like look, I don't like I said, there's different kind of love stories. We got to see like the Lucky Elizabeth, right? There's the
Yes.
history. It was slow. It was sweet. It was unexpected. And I say unexpected like to the audience, right? Like I did not expect to really like for Lucky to stick around or for him to
Yes.
be here. Cause I'm like, I thought it was gonna be this super short stint. And honestly, after everything Elizabeth's been through and it's Lucky, I'm like, don't do this crap if it's not gonna be real,
Exactly. Yeah.
but I fell for it and I'm in it and I can see it. And so,
Yes.
and I find when they're showing us a love story, we can kind of, you're supposed to feel it. Like, like even with Emma and Gio, we see it building. With
Yeah.
Jordan and Isaiah, it's rocky, but it's being built. Yes, there was a flirty thing going on with Carly and Brennan for a while, but I mean, it's changed, I find. Like, it's not really, like, I don't like the wishy washiness because
He's changed.
he's changed so much. Like,
So much time. I
I
can't
don't
even.
know what it is. There's just this air about him.
This
Maybe
new version of him
yes.
is intolerable.
But I'd like to think that even if he retained his accent, that I would be really upset with the gaslighting. Like I'm
Oh,
hoping that the
same,
accent
same.
wouldn't wash away all the gaslighting and that maybe it's only coming through because there's no accent. Interesting.
Stop. You'd still be mad.
Yeah, so I'd like to think that that would make me mad. So it's like there's this awkwardness, and they keep paralleling this awkwardness and the Anna and Jason awkwardness, and I'm like, I'm not quite sure what they want me to do, and I'm like, am I supposed to watch this and be like, oh, this is a love connection with friction, all right, and then am I supposed to watch Anna and Jason and be like, they had a kiss and they may kiss more and I'm supposed to like watch this and believe it and be okay with it. Like I'm not understanding like where is this going?
We don't know and we don't like it, but we're gonna stick around to find out.
Do you think that's how Jason feels when Anna started shoving in his face that like Brennan really has feelings for Carly. It's like obviously I don't think this reaction was like I don't know how intentional it was, but if you watch that conversation, she says that he has like a face, and then
Yes.
while she still talks, he clenches his jaw. And I mean, it could just be like Jason. Um, but yeah, I was like, that's interesting. Like when she was in the bathrobe and saying, I'm gonna stay in the bathrobe in case someone rings the doorbell. Well, she was waiting for room service. But for me, I'm like, is this why this is happening? Because Anna and Jason are gonna come at the door and now we're gonna like figure out why this is happening. Kind of like Felicia. It's like a mystery that's unsolved. Why is she an advocate at the hospital? I don't know. Still
Exactly.
waiting. I'm still holding my breath here. And so it's kind of like me still holding my breath for Nina to get hers after the whole Sunny story.
I know, yeah.
So like Jason doesn't seem I don't help. What's happening?
We don't know what's happening, but what I did love about his character, so as we're so confused about his love life and everything, but I like his position because he's still this like tough guy who can complete missions and fight, but then he has to kind of kick Anna out of the room to like parent and be the adult in the room for Charlotte, which I love. I love seeing him interact with like all of the younger people,
Yeah.
but learning how to be a dad and talking to them in the way that he'll be heard.
Oh my god, I died. Like when Charlotte was like, I hate you, you ruined my life. I'm like, yeah, she did. But I mean, like, because when she left, she was like, Anna, I forgive you for shooting me in the belly. And then there she was like, oh, I guess she's still a little bit mad now that she can't be with her dad. And that Anna's the reason for that. Yeah, I can see why she's annoyed.
I love when she said, "You probably didn't." I think she said it to Jason. You probably didn't even need Anna, anyways. You probably could have done this
I
yourself.
know. And I was like, girl, yes. Yes.
On point.
But but it's interesting, right? His circle's getting bigger. There's this like weird Charlotte connection there because she'll be at the
Yeah.
Quartermains and whatever. So yeah, like I just find that they're definitely going out of their way right now, truly separating the Jason Carly character. Like they're out of each other's orbits.
Yes, exactly. I do have a logistics corner for that house. All of a sudden, the bodies were there. All of a sudden, the bodies were gone. Did they get up and walk away? Did they put them in their car? Did they call them an Uber? What happened to the bodies?
Jason came from the upstairs back downstairs. And so while most people will shove bodies in a basement, he wanted to give them a view. Logistics corner. Uh,
Love it. Thank you.
he's like a mobster with like a real estate background. He's a mobster who renovates.
Call me later, guys.
Oh man, how did you like the sad boy steam of Dante and Chase?
Oh my gosh. It's like, talk about distracting us while they're having a very serious conversation. I'm like, how am I supposed to focus here, guys?
I was just like, it was just strange, right? Because he starts talking to Chase kind of about his wife. Like it's not a joke anymore. Like Brooklyn's his wife.
Yeah.
And
I
he
know.
and he and he sees Brooklyn for her, like truly for where she is right now. You know what I mean? While everybody else is kind of viewing her through, various different stages of her life. And then at one point, so he starts talking about the whole Lulu stuff. He's like, "Oh, because I've been defending Brooklyn." And Chase is like, "Yeah, I get it, man. Don't defend my wife." And I'm like, "What? What's going on? This conversation is so weird." And then he's like, they're talking about being young and being boys and like dating. And then he's like, "Oh, you're telling me like your mom wouldn't like any of the girls you dated?" He's like, "There was one that my mom really would have liked." I'm like, "Did you
One
just?"
Brooklyn.
I'm like, "Did you just on the download tell him the girl I dated that my mom would have liked is your wife?" What?
Messed up. I was like, what is
What?
who is this Dante? That's like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the thing is, like, how do you think this is going to shake out? Are you seeing, like, let's just say when everything comes out, are you seeing Rocco and Gio as buds or foes? Are you seeing like Chase and Dante really bond in the dad department?
I think
You
they've
know,
always had this like B level story where things work out. Like Chase will be mad for a little bit, but Chase doesn't know how to be mad.
because he's so respectful. Because it's like, look, he's desperate to be a dad. Dante's gonna
Yeah.
feel really upset, but they all live in the same house. Oh, and that was really sweet where he's like, "I have a bond with, I'm the fun uncle." Dante's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, dude." You're like, "No." And so it's really sweet. I love that, right? Like I loved how, let's say, Brooklyn can say, like, "I live with your son." I was like, that's a burn. I
It
loved it. It's like a
is.
little twist there. Like I live with him. So it's like it's interesting, right? I love how many people live there and just the relationship that Chase has with like Rocco and Brooklyn has with Rocco. And that's the thing though. Like I don't think oh, interesting. Interesting.
Say it out loud for the audience.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. So like if all this comes out, I mean, I don't know. Like Gio, the family, they might be really mad at Lulu.
But that's what I'm saying. Like last week, I was saying, like, I want the backlash to be on Lulu because at the end of the day, these people are already close knit. And like you said, it was a decision that was made by a 16-year-old girl on her own who thought she was only talking to her mom, getting the best advice she could, and somebody blew up her secret. So everybody's going to
Yeah.
be tied together, but it is Lulu who caused all the problems, who broke into a room, who got information that was confidential, who like berated poor Brooklyn to tears multiple times about her life choices at 16.
So I'm kind of wondering, like what will happen, because like we saw that Gloria is super adamant about taking the secret to the grave.
Yes.
Even more so now that they're like, so Brooklyn's mad at us now. I'm pretty sure she's gonna be super mad when she knows that like she's always had a relationship with her son. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be like devastating because like right now they're kind of working through like a baby secret. But I'm surprised Lois, like, at what point is Lois gonna go to Martin and be like, why would you tell Brooklyn? But I guess when it all comes out, it's kind of like Rocco has his experience of Brooklyn, right? And Brooklyn has been really good to him, and he has a
Yes.
relationship with her. But when all this comes out and like, Lulu can't really hide things. Like and Gio is very like about like what is right. Like look at how he kind of like
Yeah.
polices Emma's behavior.
Love
And
it.
Lulu's more reckless than that. So I don't know. And like the how quick he was to like protect Tracy and protect his family. Like it's kind of interesting. Like everybody likes to be like to point at Brooklyn's past, particularly Lulu. We saw a
Mm.
little of his grandpa come out when Gio was talking to, I think maybe Brooklyn. No, with Emma or something, saying like, if anybody had ever moved my mother, I'd be sitting right in the cell next to Tracy's. And I
Yes.
was like, damn. And it was like his grandpa came out. Like that was the sunny side of him that came out. And it's just like he's very protective. And if he has the opportunity and he has his mom and he finds out it's Brooklyn and he finds out
Yeah.
like she didn't know that about him really, I
Yes.
think Brooklyn will have herself quite the defender. Like it's one thing when Dante was doing, what's gonna happen when Gio kind of has a problem with like Lulu. And I kind of wondered that earlier because the fact that he's dating Emma and hanging out with her, I kind of was questioning that. Like, what does that relationship mean? Because it kind of brings together particular families. Like, if Gio's parents are Brooklyn and Dante, like Emma is very
Hmm.
attached to the Maxi family, and that brings them closer together in a group.
That's
Doesn't
true.
involve Lulu.
At all.
Interesting ties there.
And I think you know how we're saying, and maybe it is the setup. So like how Maxie is defending her because so far her crimes are very minimal. But when she finds out what she actually did to Brooklyn, that's going to be a whole
I
different story.
like I wonder, right? Because she knows about like the annoying stuff, but she hasn't really. We haven't had any like Brooklyn Maxi scenes, and obviously Maxi never made her way over that night, and she's over the
Hmm.
moon with like her contact with Dante. But what did you think of the fact that like because we know that Maxi wants to do girls' nights, right? When she's found out Emma asked Anna to go dancing, she's like, "Hey, I want to do that." And so like she's always down to hang out with her girls, her family. And so she was the one who initiated and invited Carly to like drinks.
I,
You got Carly, Maxie, and Lulu, that little gang. What did you think of that?
well, I thought it was so cute because I think, I mean, you've mentioned it a lot,
Yeah,
but just last week you were saying how they're basically the same person. So the fact
they
that
are.
they're going out for drinks together, I thought it was really cool. So I'm like, okay, what is going to be shared? What information is going to be shared? Like, how are they going to tie them together for a little bit of a story right now, closer than usual?
Because they've always had like this history. Like we've talked about Maxie's connection with the Corinthos family, and this
Yes.
Sasha Michael baby finally cements that. But it's not just that; they're really drawing on the history of Felicia and Bobby's best friendship. So that's
Yes.
also what we're
Yes.
seeing here. We're seeing the families continuing to maintain a bond. But it's just really interesting, right? Because Felicia is Maxie's mom,
Yeah.
right? And so it's just funny because Carly generationally fits kind of like between. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like between a Felicia, between a Maxi. So it was really interesting. And that's when they did the whole like Jordan Brennan thing. And at the end when Jordan was like, "Oh, Carly Spencer is trying her best not to notice you." Do you know why
Yeah.
I died when that happened?
Why?
Because when I was editing, after last week's debacle with like Carly and Brennan stomping out of Bobby's, and then Jordan and Isaiah kind of like have like they had a little bit of friction, like he didn't want her to do the job.
Hmm.
Poor Jordan, right? Because she figured if you don't like my job or what I'm doing, you're just gonna leave. Like it's just that black and white.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
was pretty much like, "Who hurt you?"
Yes.
And she's like, and I loved it. She had some funny answer, like, "Oh, you don't know the half of it," kind of a thing. But it's like Curtis. Curtis did. Curtis has really
Yep.
rigid
He did.
standards
He
and drives
did
women
so
up the
bad.
wall. So I was thinking to myself, given what those two ladies had just experienced, I would have thought it would have been amazing to have this moment where you have Carly having a drink, Jordan having a drink. They're both like kind of frustrated and they start talking dating. Like this is just in my head while like I'm
Oh
editing.
yeah.
And then the fact that like Jordan makes a comment on Carly and Brennan's dating life, I was like, "Oh my gosh, please make this happen. Please make this happen." But because it's like they're both in these like beginning stages of like dating
Yes.
and it would be really fun and they're trying because they both, you know what I mean? So it would be so fun if we can kind of get that moment.
I would love a scene like that.
Well, there is a scene that you got that you fully described. Oh my gosh. What did you think when Carly walks in to Nina's office, super calm, super chill, looking for her? Isn't that what I had described? That Carly goes looking for Nina
You did. And it wasn't a kitchen scene, but we had an Ava in her seat who
and
was
she was
calm,
there.
and she was calm and there and respectful. We had, Nina trying to like manage her face. She's like excited, but doesn't want to show it. And she's got Ava. She's trying to protect her friendship with Ava. It was hilarious. I loved everything. I think that Carly would have been fine even if Ava stayed.
Not yet, apparently, right? We think that, but clearly in that moment, no. But the plot
Yeah, no.
thickens because by Friday,
Yeah.
Portia is thanking Ava for her support, and Ava reminds her of the long game. Portia, don't
Hmm.
worry. Drew's got all kinds of powerful enemies like Carly and Nina. And then she goes on to name other people. Someone else will get him before this. It's just a matter of time. And I'm like, exactly. They're amplifying Ava's incentive. So she knows something's going on there. It's going to happen. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen. Ava's gonna
Yeah.
want to protect Portia to protect Trina. If she knows that it's intensifying with Portia, and she knows how much Portia just wants to be free of Drew, and she knows that Carly and Nina are up to something. Like they're gonna work together. They're gonna work together.
Ugh, no, it was absolutely amazing. I loved every part of it. I like them. I just want to know what their actual plan is.
They don't know yet, but
But
but what if
they're gonna,
they
oh yeah, they're gonna plant no, yeah, they're gonna either find evidence or plant evidence. There was a beginning of a plan. I'm sorry, I'm just re-remembering with my
oh
videographic memory.
what if they find the evidence Drew has on Portia?
Then they can at least
Take
take
it.
it away,
Yes.
you know? Okay.
That's exactly what one would hope. Yes. Take it away.
I got
um,
there. Okay.
So going back to Jordan for a sec, like her and Isaiah have decided to keep things in her apartment. But once again, we knew that there was a connection, right? Isaiah is like helping Sunny. He got to meet Christina, and now they've had another meeting. What do you think about the whole Isaiah Christina thing?
It's interesting because they have, you could, I mean, gosh, it's Isaiah. I feel like he has a connection with the wall. Like he's just
I know,
very,
I know, I know. Yeah, you're right.
it's really difficult, but I like that she's with somebody who kind of challenges her a little bit. And I'm hoping it at the end, like it just falls into like a friend circle type thing, somebody that she can trust.
She needs that, right?
Yeah, she does.
Okay, so this is what I'll say about what I think could be meaningful about the Christina and Sunny scene.
Okay.
I think that this is the handover we've been looking for,
Okay.
of
Okay.
power from Sunny to Christina, because noticing the scenes where Rick is just antagonizing her, like you can't take Avery,
Yeah.
and she's and they're poking at her. And honestly, my gosh, like she broke my heart. Like when Christina was there and realized that
Yeah.
not only was Avery going to miss it because she was disappointed at the idea that Avery would miss it, but learning that she wasn't and that her mom was going to take her instead of her, you could see like the heartbreak.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to try to hurt Ava. Like I don't think you can kill Ava, but I think
No,
that
but she'll hurt her. She'll hurt her good.
because the thing is, like, we saw that like everyone's got a first kill, and Joss's was Cyrus. And honestly, if Christina's gonna mob and Joss is gonna be her number two, Christina's got to have somewhat of an origin story, and I think we're getting to it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, like there's got to be a body. It just can't be. It can't be Ava's, and nor can it. I mean,
No,
I don't
yeah.
want it to be Rick. I love knowing that Rick can come back
No,
anytime. He's spectacular.
he is. I like love to hate him. I hate him. I love him. He's charismatic. He's sweet and not like it's just he's all over the place, but I like him.
Well, if Christina's the only one that knows what's going on with her father, she might be
Yeah,
around more. She'll check on him more. She might learn a few things.
that's true. That's true.
So, yeah, I think this is the beginning of the handover, the beginning of that transition. They're like literally, I think they're in the process of preparing Joss, but I think Christina's on her way soon.
I love it. Okay, let's see here. What I think we covered
No,
quite a
we did
bit.
not cover the most dramatic thing, Willow and Sasha.
No, we didn't. You're right. And then I'm gonna go fast pace on things.
Yes, yes, we need to. For me,
Yeah,
you're
that's what I'm
doing me a
saying.
favor, and I'm not good at this. So, Willow and Sasha, that was amazing. This is what I think. Willow is our Nina do-over. We never saw Nina kind of get hers, right? Like it fizzled.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was this drama. We're like, oh my gosh, it's been months that we've had to watch Sonny in a cowboy hat, and now he's back. And now everybody knows who did it. This is gonna get good. Okay, so he's gonna marry her. Fine. All right. She really like I don't understand. Like we all watched it, we were all tortured. And then it just became a back and forth with her and Carly, and then it kind of like fizzled. And so I'm thinking with Willow, this could be the do-over.
I need it to be because the level of delusion, not understanding, like I'm glad Sasha called her on a lot of stuff because apparently like Willow really doesn't understand like the concept of
So much.
marriage,
So much.
vows, like none of
Guys,
it made sense. And like it was
guys.
so again, like not as difficult as the whole Lulu Brooklyn situation, but every word that came out of Willow's mouth, you're like, do you actually like? Do you hear you? Do you like believe hard what you're saying? Like, I can't believe she said some of those things to Sasha. The moving up, the con, the sleep with Jason.
I
Like
know. All
nobody was married,
like all why? Because you found out who Holly was?
right?
Think about it. Like unlike you, I mean, again, thank you for your service of being a teacher and a nurse, but like Sasha made millions. She may have lost it,
Honestly,
but she made her own money and made her own way. So the thing is, it's like it's so hilarious how like Willow has one new piece of information. Your mom was a con woman. You once called my mom that I hated and I refused to give her the time of day. So even though so much time has passed since your past transgressions, you must be a con artist today. I'm like, what? Like it just like it like makes zero sense. And it's funny because like in this situation, Sasha is the only relief we're getting, right? Because Willow is willowing, people try to talk to her and you just can't get through. Like she already said, like, oh my gosh, those papers are saying all lies. And then when Carly says they're not lies, she's like, they're not lies, but then it's still fine. It's still fine. It's still fine. Like I think Sasha's right when she's like, "You're starting to regret this," and she was awkward when Drew came. Honestly, Drew's done a
yes,
lot of horrible things, but I think he did the worst for me. Do you remember? Do you remember when like Valentine used to visit Nina at work all the time? Do you remember when Curtis
yes,
used to show up at Jordan's job all the time? When
yes.
I saw Drew show up with flowers, okay? Like you understand, like you're the mistress. She just publicly left her super rich husband who knows everybody in the town who donates to the hospital, and you're gonna show up and mark your territory.
Okay, but not only that, the funniest moment for me was when Carly was trying to have a conversation with Willow and Drew literally popped out of nowhere to respond to Carly.
But like Willow is just ridiculous to what degree? It's like he speaks for you. Like
Yes.
it's like he has a Carly radar. He tracks her. It's like, is it? And then he keeps
Honestly.
checking on her. Did anyone say something about you? You mentioned a patient. Did they say? Did someone say something? I hope you're not listening to anything but me.
Oh, I can't. I can't
It,
with him.
oh my gosh! Like I just loved it. The whole like you're a con woman. You want to move up and get that mob money. I did not even understand like
I
what
didn't
she thinks
either.
Sasha's gaining. She's literally working and getting free housing. Like she's the cook, and she hasn't
I
stopped
know.
being the cook. I'm like, you have literally been housed by all your man friends. Like you literally went from Michael to a congressman. You're going from a gatehouse to a 6-bedroom house.
Yeah.
You only had stairs. That's all you had a first floor and stairs, and he's gonna give you more. So yeah, like I just all the things that she said, and I just love how many times that Sasha had to explain things to her. I didn't break
Yes.
any hearts. Like I didn't. She's like, I wasn't married. Like that was funny. She thinks
I know.
the line is, have you slept with Michael's uncle today? Like to her, it's
It's
like
so weird.
that's her measure of if you're a horrible person. She's like, you got so mad at me when I kissed Drew, and then you went to go sleep with Michael's uncle. Then Johnny noticed this. He's like, Willow didn't even say like Drew or my boyfriend or my man friend. She said when I kissed Michael's uncle, and I was like, that's so that she
So
referred to
gross.
him like that. But I was dying of laughter that she was like, what's bad is anyone who hooks up with Michael's uncle. She's like, I wasn't married to Michael when that happened. And then she's talking about, and Jason, you like when he's grieving Sam is when you hooked up with him. I'm like, literally, you didn't even
Literally.
give condolences to your husband who saw Sam as a sister.
Mhm.
Okay. You found out Sam died and ran to Drew to give him, in air quotes, condolences. Like, what do you mean? Like, she's literally reciting her life back to her. And the funniest thing is, like, it was so sad. Like, she had zero comebacks. Like, she tries it out. She's like, I'm going to say mean things to you. And then Sasha's like, here, dum dum. And she's like,
Exactly.
okay. And then the last thing that happened, when Sasha said, like, I wasn't with anyone, we were single. Okay. I didn't break any hearts, I didn't hurt anybody. And then Willow goes, not yet. And I was like,
I know,
good
I'm like,
one. One day,
yeah.
Sasha could break someone's heart.
Oh
Burn.
my. It was too much. Okay, I do have some other fun moments. I don't have any favorite lines, but these are my favorite moments. Sexy online grocery shopping, had no idea it could be so hot.
What?
With Jordan and
Oh,
Isaiah, they
yeah.
were sexy online grocery shopping.
Yes.
The almost could have with Elizabeth and Lucky constantly getting interrupted for their sexy time. That was hilarious. My favorite part was when Aiden came in and was like picking apart the basket, and they were doing that whole like parent talk where it's like, you have to go now because we're gonna have sexy time, but we don't want to say it out loud in front of you because that's gonna
I
be weird.
know.
But go,
I
please.
Johnny thinks that like Lucky pretended to be asleep after all the stuff Rick said to him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, he's maybe just tired. Like it
I
could
think he's
be.
just tired. Like he's just recovering from being digitalized.
Yes. And revived after being digitalized. I
Exactly.
One of my favorite moments is I'm gonna give a gold star to drunk Lucas and for cutting himself off. Do you notice that he orders around? He's like, after this, I'm cutting myself off, and he cut himself off to the bartender. It was so good.
I mean, he met a hot lawyer. Like, good for him, but he just like spilled his guts. But anyways, I hope he has a good time.
Well, I felt like that lawyer wasn't just listening for nothing. You know what I mean? So, as, but like the fact that he saw Brad's side, I think is just Lucas is going to get to have some fun, and he might still end up with Bradley.
I love it. I love it a lot. Oh my gosh, we did it. We talked about all the things. We covered all the stuff. We gave the stars. We said our favorite moments. That's a wrap, folks. Have a fantastic weekend.
Bye.
Bye bye.